What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog, back in Standard, running a Rakdos Menace list. So we did the Jund version earlier, which is super sweet, but we're going to keep it simple here with 2 colors and Rakdos. So obviously we don't have the Rakdos pathways, unfortunately, but we do have, Temple of Malice, and also running the Savai Triome to help us kind of get all of our fixing. So a lot of tap lands for a creature deck, but we also have a lot of good removal, things like that, so we should be okay. So 4 Bloodchiefs, just premier removal. 2 Foulmire Knights, giving us kind of a different look here with Death Touch and potentially card draw if we top deck this later on. 4 Heartless Acts, just probably the next best removal. 2 Bloodchief Thirst. Nullpriest of Oblivion, Menace, and Lifelink. Just fantastic creature here, 2/1. We can kick it for 6 and get one of our creatures back from the graveyard straight to the battlefield. A Labyrinth Raptor, 2 mana, 2/2 Menace. Whenever a creature controlled Menace becomes blocked, defending player sacks a creature blocking it, and you can pay 2 black and red to give your creatures with Menace +1/+0 until end of turn. Just fantastic creature here. Stormfist Crusader, 2/2 Menace as well, and beginning of your upkeep, each player draws a card or loses 1 life. So we're kind of a creature aggro deck. Once we get our creatures online, we don't really care about our life total. We just want to pressure our opponent's life total as much as possible. Dig for more creatures, dig for removal, and kind of close out the game as quickly as possible. Blackbloom Rogue is a 3 mana 2/3 Menace. Not super great stats, however gets +3/+0 as long as an opponent has 8 more cards in their graveyard. Obviously we don't have the Rogue mill thing going on in this deck, but we do have lots of good removal. So we should be able to get there. Your opponent's going to be casting spells and filling up their graveyard themselves, so passaging and things like that. So without too much effort, we can definitely get. It's possible we can get this up to a 5/3 without too much effort. But it can also just be a black mana source, depending on where we're at in the game, and just 2 copies. Anyway, 2 copies of Elspeth's Nightmare. Destroy a creature opponent controls power 2 or less. So plenty of relevant targets there. Then we look at their hand, reveal a choose a non-creature, non-land card, and make them discard, and then we exile their graveyard. 4 copies of Grimdancer. We get to choose Menace, Death Touch, or Lifelink. Obviously, we're going to choose Menace because that's what our deck is about. Then, depending on the matchup, we'll go Death Touch or a Lifelink. A couple of Nighthawk Scavengers. Obviously, doesn't have Menace, but has pretty much everything else. Flying, Death Touch, Lifelink, pretty fantastic. A little bit of a non-bow with the Elspeth's Nightmare, but 2 of each of these. Probably not going to have both of them out at the same time very often, and even still, you can quickly rebuild your opponent's graveyard probably and get this up to 2, 3, 4 power, not without too much effort. And if it's only a 1/3 for a couple turns, that's not the worst thing in the world either. At the end, it does have Death Touch, so that's pretty sweet. So Sonorous Howlbonder, 3 mana for 2/2 Menace. Each creature you control with Menace can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures. So very creature-heavy meta in a lot of ways. So Howlbonder should be pretty good, even though it's obviously one of the worst Menace creatures you could be running. But obviously with rotation, we lost a lot of the better creatures. There's the other 4/5 one that puts a Death Touch counter on your opponent's creatures. Don't really love it though, especially with Heartless Act. Doesn't work too good. Just don't think it's quite worth it. So we're going to run all the Sonorous Howlbonders. And for a little bit of spice, we got a couple copies of Zagras. Just looking for ways to add a little bit of a spicy touch to the deck. We got the Flying, Death Touch, Haste. Kind of leaning into the Death Touch as kind of a way to kind of round out the Menace, since Menace is a little bit lacking. Especially if we're just going to keep it just in Rakdos colors. So Zagras, we do have 4 of the Warriors, 4 Clerics, and 4 Rogues. So hopefully we'll get our Zagras down for 4 mana and start swinging and get some value that way. Let's have a couple Agadeems Awakening to get some of our Menace creatures back onto the battlefield. Otherwise, we got 6 Swamps, 6 Mountains to round out the mana base. Sideboard, we got a couple Feed the Swarms for enchantment removal, but also can hit creatures as well. A couple Skyclave Shade against removal heavy matchups. A couple Shredded Sails, deal with artifacts, also hits creatures with flying. A couple Sorcerous Spyglass down Ugins, and potentially something else that has activated abilities that we don't like. Necromentia also for Ugin and other kind of linear type strategies. Phoenix of Ash for a little bit of a mill matchup. Extinction Events for the go wide strategies. We can kind of pick and choose what kind of creatures we're going to play onto the battlefield, knowing we have an Extinction Event in our back pocket, and kind of exile, based on that. Most of our important creatures are evens, obviously, with the 2 drops, but we do have some 3 drops you might want to play around as well. And a little bit more graveyard hate with Erebos Intervention, also some life gain to kind of off. Alright, the guy upstairs. Seems pretty reasonable. Those are some awesome sleeves. Tybalt. Wow. Also got them from their FNM promo. That's pretty sweet. I love that. Mountain. drop our Nullpriest, they'll let you get shot. The Bob Ross Mountain. Careless Celebrant. Alright, well it's going to kill our entire deck when it dies, so... do have Menace for what it's worth. Just playing mono red. Well, you need 3 creatures just to block one of ours, thanks to the Howlbonder. It's a 3 mana play. We're missing black for Bloodchief's Thirst. I do have Heartless Act, so it's probably worth destroying that. To find some more removal. Perfect. So don't quite have lethal yet. 2, 4, 6. Fire Prophecy. Typically see that in combo decks. In a creature deck doesn't seem very ideal, but I'm not quite sure what they're up to. It's almost tempting just to hang on to this Agadeem's Awakening to get our creatures back. Another black source to do that, so we'll play it out. As we're just kind of hoping we draw a black source and we have another creature to get back potentially. Nope. There we go. That one. Maybe? Whew. Okay. So, Careless Celebrant's pretty annoying, but the Howlbonder was pretty clutch there. We'll bring in the Erebos Intervention. Let's bring in Extinction Events, try to exile those. And Skyclave Shade just for their recursion, and try it like that. Don't love having to exile 2-drops, and we're pretty heavy on 2-drops, but kind of see how it lines up. I mean, if they just are able to sack their Celebrants or otherwise stay back on defense, then it might make sense to do that for us. So we'll see. With the Howlbonder in hand and a Menace creature, so got some decisions here on turn 2 if we want to get the Menace creature on board or just go for this Shade. Shade can also be kicked later on, so there's that. Kicked for 5 instead of 6. I think that answers the question. We'll go Stormfist. Don't want to lose a ton of life in this matchup, so if they do kill it, that's fine. They seem to have a shock. Hold up some more removal, it looks like. So we'll Skyclave Shade in that case. Play the Rogue. There's a land here at this spot. So we have 3 black now for Agadeem's Awakening, so if we keep drawing lands, we got that. Blazing Volley, my dude. What a savage. Blazing Volley. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with some of these cards, there's 1 toughness. Forbidden Friendship. What a savage. We're going to get these 2-drops down. Swing 2. Alright, so we've seen Careless Celebrant, we've seen the Relic Robber, or whatever it is, that 3-mana rogue, Goblin Rogue, or whatever it is. And tokens. Don't know what the Fire Prophecy is for. Typically, you're just better off with like, you know, Scorching Dragonfire or something like that. You're tapped out. I'll block something. Yeah, we'll Skyclave. Why not? I need 3 creatures to block, but they're attacking it with their 1/1 tokens for whatever reason. Do need to deal with this Spell Eater Wolverine though. It's pretty nasty. Menace lifelink here. Let's see, where are we at? 9. Don't quite have lethal, so we'll Heartless Act this 2/2. And we hope should have game next turn. Let's get that off the board now before that has some kind of a sack effect, which we haven't seen, but it's possible they have something. Thundering Rebuke. On the one thing that they can block. Ooh, Zagras. There we go. Whew. Coming in clutch there, Zagras. You're just waiting for your opportunity there, weren't you? Alright, against Renok D. Go first. Sweet. I'm just in red, but we have Nullpriest to some 3-drops here. Might be worth it. I'm so easily persuaded, aren't they? Rule? Teamer? Alright, we got the Heartless Act as well, so if we are missing lands, let's have something maybe we can do. Jund, that's cool. Alright, I found our red source. Hopefully they give us something to Heartless Act. And we'll just kind of go from there. Playing Jund Sack in Standard. Not nearly as good. Death Touch. Obviously, Corvold is a super strong card if left unchecked. You're so cool, my dude, running Kroxa. You reading Kroxa, dude? Come on. That's pretty good. Why not? Four colors? Oh my goodness, dude. Menace, lifelink. Down to 5. What do you got? 4 colors? You can't even Kroxa, dude, because your mana base is terrible. You can't even Kroxa. I'm just going to kill your creature. I guess they have some second creature to flash in here, maybe do a double block somewhere, but still don't really see how they're getting out of this. Fling. Well, they made our Nighthawk Scavenger a little bit better, and we had them either way, so cool. So yeah, Fling is pretty good with the Warmonger, but don't really see how you're going to pull that off in a four color list. That is ambitious. Do we need to do anything here? Warmonger's a 3/3. The Foulmire Knight for the interventions. Have a little bit of graveyard hate for Croxa, stuff like that. You know, if the game does drag on, if they find some removal or whatever, then everyone has answers for that. And just the life gain could be relevant as well if we find our Stormfist Crusader. Not like this. Alright, we'll keep. Agadeem's Awakening. I think with this, we'll Temple here, try to find something on 2. I'm not going to say no to that. I'm not going to board it in, we'll just Triome here. We'll see what our opponent does. Croxa will discard a Hellbonder. We have a million of them. Slaughter Priest. I think I actually want to pay and get the Elspeth down. Take a look at their hand. Not sure we want to lead on Grimdancer or probably get a Hellbonder down. I'm assuming they have some removal. We'll have to look at it next turn. Ultimatum, are you serious, dude? You're never. How are you ever going to cast that with your. Oh, wow. Grimdancer is fine here, I think. Menace, and we'll go Death Touch. Maybe Life Ink would have been better. They do have like flings and stuff like that to do like direct damage, but. Yeah, don't really decide you're pulling off Ultimatum with your mana base. Your deck is running way too much. I don't know if they're playtesting or if this is actually like for reals. So not a huge value there, but I still think it's still pretty reasonable. About 2 drops, so we can kill either one. Probably going after the. Let's see. We have 2 mana open, so they'll sacrifice whatever we don't take. So that's fine. We'll get that. Get the Slaughter Priest off the board. I think is probably the bigger threat. Yeah, you can sack it to your Blood Aspirant, but they get 2 creatures off the board, or get 1 creature off the board, so it makes it harder for them to do stuff. Okay, so they make it so that our Grimdancer can't block. Seems pretty good. They do get a counter, so obviously Heartless Act. This could have been a reason to target the Blood Aspirant, but I imagine there's going to be other relevant targets we care about. With a Hellbonder out, I mean, they need lots of creatures in play, so. Wow, is this person actually getting up to Ultimatum territory? Are they actually doing it? What a savage. They're actually getting up to Ultimatum territory with that land, those lands. Wow. We got off to a super slow start though, so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then triple black. And then 2 triple black. 2 white, 2 green. So yeah, they're still not there. They are still not there. I think we'll keep the Triome in hand to cycle it. We can attack, activate the Raptor, get in for a lot. Is that lethal? Ooh, 1 off. Alright, well, they gotta find something pretty juicy here. Croxa. Can they bring it back? That's so cute, but I don't think it's going to get the job done here. Interesting idea, but not quite sure this is the place to, yeah. So, 4 color Ultimatum Sacrifice. It's interesting, super ambitious. I think Brawl would be a much better place for that, but who would your commander be to make all these things happen? You probably have to simplify it to cut the Ultimatum, maybe like a Corvold. I don't even think there is a 4. Oh, I guess you could do like a Kenrith. Yeah, Kenrith lets you do that. Golos? Is Golos? No, Golos is not. It'd be historic. But yeah, Kenneth, I guess we'll let you do Ultimatum when this kind of shenanigans. You'd have much better luck than trying to pull this off in Standard. But yeah, pretty interesting, fun deck idea. I love something different. So yeah, the Jund version actually felt a little bit better. Seems like I just have a lot of weird matchups against with this deck. Seems like it's either like janky stuff like that, or like really competitive decks you'd expect to find top 8 in tournaments. Not something for the unranked queue, but you know, people are going to do what they're going to do. So yeah, ironically, I kind of find the Jund version a little bit better, a little bit more interesting. But you know, the Rakdos is you'd think it'd be more consistent, but without the pathways, you're burning all these temples and triomes and a lot of tap lands for kind of what's supposed to be an aggro deck. So it feels pretty awkward that way, but it's kind of necessary evil because you have the Raptor and the Crusader that are black and red on turn 2, so you need to have both here in the early going right away. So once we get the pathways, I think something like this could be a lot better, especially if there is more you know, Menace support, which there's typically a handful of Menace creatures in each set, you know, at least a couple. How playable they are tends to vary. Definitely gone through some different experimentations with trying to make this work, and I think adding the kind of the Death Touch package has definitely helped it. A couple Foulmire Knights also represent some card draw, which we already have the draw a card, lose a life with the Stormfist Crusader, but still think it works okay. You're trying to win the game pretty quickly. Zagras, though, definitely gives the deck a different dimension with the haste flying threat out of the air. And then Nighthawk Scavenger pretty powerful as well. Even without, you know, actively milling our opponent. But yeah, the Raptor is super sweet, and you know, getting to play with Howlbonder, which I've kind of overlooked for a long time. I think this part of this just kind of by default with the lack of kind of real Menace, strong Menace support. I think this card is actually pretty reasonably playable. Definitely makes things difficult for your opponent, and especially if you run a good amount of removal, like we got this pretty solid removal package here. Elspeth's Nightmares and been pretty solid. Been enjoying that. Obviously, it is a little bit of a non-bo with the Scavenger, but you know, it's 2 of each. I think it's fine. And the Spyglass, just playing a bunch of hate cards, basically. You know, enchantments, artifacts, anti-removal, and make sure we have plenty of anti-Ugin tech with Spyglass, Necromentia, a little bit anti-mill with Phoenix of Ash. So the mill strategy can be a little rough at times, but it is what it is. A couple Extinction Events, even though we're running lots of spot removal, still feel like, you know, Scoot Storm and things like that can still be an issue mutate decks. So Extinction Events felt like it's been a bit of a necessary evil. Even though I'd rather run like you know, some Croxes or some more escape stuff ourselves to give ourselves more game against the mill strategies. And then the Intervention, since we're light on Graveyard Hate, Intervention is kind of a way to for us to fill that gap to complement our Elspeth's Nightmare. So yeah, hopefully we'll continue to get more Menace support in the coming sets, and we can kind of take another look at actually getting this back to kind of the power level it was before rotation, which is actually pretty reasonable deck, and maybe we'll look at some historic versions of Menace as well here in the coming weeks. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Till next time, make sure you jank with